Well, the Jets have decided to part ways with Aaron, Mr. Rodgers himself, Mr. Achilles man. I just could keep going with the names. I'm going to stop
Mr.
now.
Achilles man. Not the most creative, but...
Well, it's just whatever comes off the top of this shiny dome, which is not much usually. Here's the big question. Is Aaron Rodgers going to play football in 2025? And if so, what team is he going to play for?
I'm excited to talk about this because me and you, we used to text football a lot. Since we started doing the show, we don't. We a little
We don't
bit.
text at all, actually.
No, never. I hate you.
Well, you just beat me to it.
Is that what you were going to say?
We actually hate each other. Yeah.
So I think he will. Well, okay, let me rephrase it. I think if he plays, is contingent on who he plays.
His other Achilles.
Yes. Well, that too. I don't think, as bad as it has ended for Aaron Rodgers. If you watch the tape, at the end of the year last year, he can still throw. I mean, he's not a top 10 quarterback or anything, but it's he is a, serviceable mid-tier starter. However, I don't think he's going to want to go to a team that's just going to be terrible.
Okay, so you said this. You said he's not terrible, right?
He's not.
Let's talk about who you would rather have Aaron Rodgers than.
Okay.
What quarterback would you take Aaron Rodgers over, okay? So I'm just going to throw a couple out at you, and I just want to see where you land. I want to get a good feel.
Okay.
All right, Trevor Lawrence. Well, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought.
Speed round. Tick, 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 tick. Lawrence.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, Baker.
Oh, really?
Easy. No, Baker Mayfield's top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, 100% right. Okay, let's go Anthony Richardson.
Rodgers.
Okay.
And we'll talk about them.
Matthew Stafford. Geno Smith.
I think.
Russell Wilson.
Rodgers, sorry. Stafford.
Okay. All right, so that's there's 1 out of 5?
Right. So let's take that point and just look at the teams point by point, kind of like we did with the other guys. In contention right now, anything could happen. We think Rams, Raiders, Steelers, Colts. According to the betting odds, those are the top teams. The only way he goes to the Rams is if the Stafford thing falls apart. I'm not going to talk about that. We talked about that in the Stafford section. You can go watch our video there. Raiders, no way. He's not going to go to the Raiders and be in his same division with Patrick Mahomes and Sean Payton and Justin Herbert. He's not going to do that. Absolutely not. And they suck, so count them out. That leaves really 2 options to me. The Steelers and the Colts. The Steelers are the team everyone's kind of talking about. It would be a really good match. They've got a really good, reliable defense. He wouldn't have to carry the team. He likes Mike Tomlin. They have a history of getting along together, and he can be that bridge quarterback they need. The problem, they do need to make the offensive line a little bit better because he is not as mobile as he once was. He has to kind of operate in the pocket. That would be a concern. And they really don't have a ton of weapons. They've got George Pickens, and that's kind of it. I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but he is better than a lot of people out there like we just went through. In my opinion, and I don't know if a lot of people are taking this seriously, I don't know if the team would entertain it. The Colts would be the best option to me. I think it's a sneaky good option. Hold on. They have a lot of good players. So they've got Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, a solid O-line, Rodgers and Steichen. Seems like it would be a good match, but would Steichen be willing to give up that much control to Rodgers? Because Rodgers is going to call the plays he wants to play. It's not really going to be Steichen's offense. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But we know Anthony Richardson is not the answer. If Indy had solid quarterback play and some veteran leadership that could kind of pull that locker room together, I feel like they could compete for the division because the division's kind of wide open.
And let's be honest, the team runs or could run through Jonathan Taylor. We just have to have a quarterback to allow that to happen. Now,
if you did that, you would be admitting you're done with Richardson. So that's why they might not do that, because he's only been in the league 2 years. You would be waving the white flag on Richardson. I would already be doing that, though. I think we can all see Richardson's not a long-term franchise quarterback. Which is
so sad because his stature and everything is just if you crafted a quarterback in a mold, that would be that one type of guy you would want.
Unfortunately, they need to be able to throw, though.
Right. He doesn't have the dynamics of a quarterback. No. And last time I checked, over physical stature is dynamics of a quarterback. You have to have that to be a quarterback.
Right. He can throw a great deep ball, but he can't play quarterback. He can't read progressions and throw over the middle and throw into tight windows and stuff. So I don't know if the Colts will go after him, but I feel like that would be a good fit.
I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers in any. See, what made the Jets transition easy is he still wears green every now and then, but him outside of in a blue and white uniform, it just looks weird.
Well, what about Pittsburgh? You think that looks better?
No,
I mean it's going to be weird regardless. But
I don't.
You think he plays?
Who, Aaron Rodgers?
You think he plays next year, or you think he's going to retire?
If I'm him, okay, let me backtrack. If I'm any GM, I don't know that I go and seek Rodgers out. Like, I don't even know.
GM? Even Pittsburgh? You'd rather start Justin Fields? Yeah.
This is going to keep being my answer. Like, maybe,
I
probably.
think Pittsburgh has the culture to survive Aaron Rodgers because we know he's a tornado, of controversy. But Mike Tomlin has his arms around that organization. Maybe to your point, that might be why the Colts would be a disaster. He might go in there and it might cause a firestorm.
Yeah, you obviously are taking a risk on not only his age, but we know the statistics that once you go one Achilles, the next one has a 50% chance of going as well, right? So you have that big injury risk just being a dark cloud over you the whole time. So you're constantly worried about that. His mobility is not there anymore. He can still throw the ball. He can still, in wide open field, run for a first down. But I just don't think that he's somebody that, if I take him on, I want to know, just like the whole Stafford debate we had. Again, go watch our other video. We'll link it here. But you got to be able to say that this guy's getting us to the Super Bowl within the time frame he has left of playing.
Okay, I disagree. I think you're looking at it wrong because I don't think there's any world where he's going to win a Super Bowl. I think those days are long past. I
think you just move on. Like, what benefit do you have of taking Rodgers for any team? Like, what the
as
Colts
a bridge
take him.
Quarterback?
Bridge to what? Like, why would the Colts invest the money and time into Aaron Rodgers? What are they going to get out of it? Like,
that's a good point.
Okay, so you win more games.
You're right.
Well, hey, guess what? You got worse draft position now. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you rather just roll with Richardson and say, well, let's just, I know they say teams don't tank, but there's teams that don't try hard. All right. And I think the Colts may be at that position where they just try hard at quarterback and, just manage. I would honestly rather have Justin Fields at the Colts to carry me through the next year than Aaron Rodgers. Not for the talent, but, just for the possibility of like, hey, we'll win a couple, but we'll probably lose most of them.
You made me do a complete 180 now because as you walk through that, I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. Because when you put it like that, once I said, I don't think he's getting you to a Super Bowl, and you're like, well, then what's the point? You're kind of right because it's like, oh, so we're getting him so we can win 10 games and lose in the wild card round instead of just winning 6 games and getting a better draft pick and getting a quarterback next year. So you're kind of right. It's like the only reason to go after him is if you think he's a significant upgrade. So in this situation, okay, well, let's look at 2 teams we weren't going to go in depth about. The Rams, if Stafford leaves, it makes sense for them to go get him just because they don't have anybody left, right?
And they are on the precipice of a Super Bowl as it stands right now. Like
they don't need him to carry the team. They could still, and if they lose Stafford and don't have a replacement, they're done. So that they would need someone. I don't think Rodgers would do it. If you're the Raiders, you would take him because it's like, God, anything's better. They don't have a quarterback. You know what I mean? They've got Aiden O'Connell. It's like, you just need stability.
You want to know a perfect team for him that would, obviously they don't need him. They'll never get him. Like, they just want a Super Bowl. But the Eagles, like, that's a perfect fit for him where all you got to do is make a few good throws and you're there. Like, but so you have
to
find that.
What are you talking about? To be a backup?
No. I'm saying if say Jalen Hurts was out of the picture. Like, if you could put Aaron Rodgers in a perfect scenario, it would be a team like the Eagles where everything runs through the running back.
Problem is, there's just not a team like that.
Exactly. So outside the Rams and the Eagles, who both have quarterbacks, and we presumably think that the Rams will retain Stafford, well, why? Why would you pick him up? It just doesn't make sense to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
And then you're also taking on the hassle of having a guy that's arrogant, which, again, I don't mind Aaron Rodgers' arrogancy.
Yeah.
Because I would be the same if I was that good.
And he brings a ton of baggage with him, though.
He does. And a ton of publicity, mostly on the negative side.
But he stirs the pot. He goes out there and does his weekly thing with McAfee, intentionally puts shit out there.
So why would you touch it? It's a hot potato, and it's just not going to be good no matter how you cool it off. Like, it's just, there's no benefiting factor.
Okay, so, well, you've totally convinced me that. So with that then, do you think Okay,
You wouldn't
so
know that I do sales for a living, huh?
I know what me and you think, because I agree with you 100%. You've convinced me, just because I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with them. So why even do it?
Yeah.
With that said, do you think a team out there will do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a team stupid enough to be, oh, hey, we're getting Aaron Rodgers.
If you had to bet right now, where do you think he plays next year?
If I had to bet right now, I bet he doesn't.
Okay. Interesting.
I think there's a team that would try to get him, but he will decline that offer. And he'll say, wash my hands, I'm out.
I would say Pittsburgh right now, if I had to pick.
I think that is one of the least likely options.
That's crazy.
I just don't think, like, why would Tomlin's not going to be a guy to just give control.
Because they don't want Russell Wilson's not coming back. He is an improvement over Russell Wilson.
Okay, but why did they get Justin Fields?
To compete with Russell Wilson? I mean, so it kind of depends on how you look at Justin Fields. I mean, I don't think Justin Fields is a starting quarterback. I just don't.
They brought in a young racehorse to make the old racehorse run faster? Is that what they did?
I mean, give him options, and Russell Wilson was dealing with an injury, and neither of them cost him anything. That was the thing. Remember we talked about it. It's like the Steelers couldn't lose bringing in those guys because they didn't cost them anything. Rodgers would. So
yeah, not only money, but a headache.
That's
a lot of Tylenol.
But if anybody could deal with it, I think Tomlin could. I think Tomlin could be the one to kind of manage all that. But I don't know. But also a tough division. Then you got to go against Lamar and Burrow. And
you think Steelers? I think nowhere. I think at home or being an analyst somewhere or he'll probably go hang out on McAfee show.
I think he'll disappear.
I don't. There's no world where I think Aaron Rodgers disappears. He wants to be in the limelight. He can't, dude. I think he would be great on the McAfee show. Like, I think Pat would consider being. What's that show? Oh my gosh, where that guy with the
Gilmore Girls.
That's it. That is it. But no, the guy, I want to say his name was like Luke something, but he's always in like the black shirt and has a slick back blonde hair. I want to say he's on Cowherd's show or somebody's show every day.
Luke.
I think it's Luke or something.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I don't know. It's the guy that always comes up and he's like on a Zoom all the time and he has like a bookcase behind him. And
an analyst with a bookcase behind him? Who could that be?
Let's just move on, shall we?